And if you run it back,
it's beautiful.
You'll see it's Richard Hamilton leaving Devin George, getting just a fingertip on the ball. That jostles it free, and it's a turnover.
All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope you all are having a good day so far. So recently got a request to check out something that I actually saw on my feed too a couple days ago. And I was definitely thinking about watching it, but I postponed it so I could watch it all with you guys. This one is called Why No One Could Score on the 04 Pistons. And this is from a fantastic channel called Thinking Basketball. Actually, no, it's not. It's from the NBA channel, but it has a title of Thinking Basketball. Now I'm confused. I totally thought this was going to be a Thinking Basketball video. Okay, but I guess this is officially from the NBA. Can I get away with this? I don't know. But I agreed to do it, so we're going to try. Anyways, I'm going to link the original video down below if you want to check this out without me. And chances are this won't get released anyways. So, yeah, link will be down below in the description if you want to check it out. Everybody else, please leave a like to this video. And, yeah, 04 Pistons, just the tiniest bit of background. Obviously, the team that beat the stacked Lakers in 04. And they were the revival of the Bad Boy Pistons, pretty much. No disrespect to the Bad Boy Pistons or this team, but that's the way we saw it, at least. When, you know, me and all my friends were like, this is the rebirth of the Bad Boys. All right, let's just check this out. Here we go.
Today, it is maybe the greatest defense in the history of the NBA. That's right, the 2004 Pistons. We are watching Game 3 of the Finals versus the Lakers. No one stands a chance against this defense. It is Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Richard Hamilton, Tayshaun Prince, Chauncey Billups. And the thing to know about this series, we are tied 1-1. The Pistons won Game 1 in a shocking upset, holding the Lakers to 75 points.
Jeez.
In that game. They lost Game 2 in overtime after Kobe hit a last-second shot to send the game into overtime. Ooh. They like to start...
Ben Wallace, nice bank off the glass.
Plays for Ben Wallace, and he banks that one in. This was old school. They would usually run a play or two for Big Ben to start the game to kind of get him touches, get him a feel, reward him for being the workman on the glass, the defensive anchor. Ooh. Peyton misses an open three there. That was maybe one of the best shots they've had out of a half-court set. So Game 1 and Game 2 back in L.A. were split, but the Lakers were huge favorites coming.
Yeah, they were huge favorites. And quick little tidbit. Yeah, a lot of people I see in comments, when I say I think it was the 90s were the silver era leading into the golden era, and I think from 1990 to 2010 was the golden era of basketball. This is why. Teams like Detroit, teams like San Antonio, and then obviously, you know, what we have with the Lakers too. That's why I think it's still the golden era, because they were still playing both sides of the ball. And look, Detroit here in 2004 won a championship with their defense against the freaking Lakers.
Coming into this series, and a lot of that is because...
And I'm sorry, that's no disrespect to the 80s. I'm an 80s boy. But the reason I have gripes about the 80s was because of no flagrant foul call. And the amount of violence that I saw in the 80s in basketball, it was just... it was a little too much. It needed to be dialed down about 20%. So I think they figured that out by the 90s, and it was no longer a street brawl out there on the basketball court.
Rasheed Wallace was traded midseason. We'll get to that in a second. Hold on.
Yeah, look at this trap.
Kobe Bryant right here. You see Prince picking him up full court, and then Hamilton springing the trap.
That's a lot of pressure.
Detroit picked up full court man right out of the gate in Game 1. And then you see Wallace playing Shaq straight up, basically. Rasheed is lurking and slaps at the ball. But they were throwing Shaq different looks, sometimes single coverage, sometimes a late double. We'll talk more about that.
It's interesting. The two people I've seen Shaq struggle the most on were much smaller dudes. So Ben Wallace and Dennis Rodman, believe it or not.
As we watch this unfold. So the Lakers were huge favorites coming in.
Yeah,
One
they
of the
were.
biggest finals favorites that we have on record. Basketball Reference has lines going back about 40 years into the 80s. And this is the biggest finals upset that we would have with Detroit. But here we're still 1-1. We're at a swing point.
Ooh, brick.
Great versatility from Tayshaun Prince there.
On his point, yeah, we all of us here at least, we thought this was going to be a sweep. 4-0 Lakers.
Switching onto the big forward, then stepping out in the pick and roll coverage and using his length to bother Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, Tayshaun,
So
man.
the Lakers had a better offensive structure.
Tayshaun has those long arms. I can relate. They are very handy on defense.
Game 2, in the second quarter, in the third quarter, they had some of their best numbers. They scored 26 points in a quarter, which was a feat. We'll talk about that as we go through this. There's a beautiful backdoor lob
Make Shaq
reminiscent
chase
of
you.
what they used to run for Rasheed at North Carolina. So we'll get into all this. But again, the whole name of the game here is Kobe and Shaq.
Oh,
Shaq
man.
has good position.
So far, Kobe just is bricking. Surprisingly. Shaq hasn't done anything either. But my dog is so pissed off at Kobe bricking. Huh. You mad? You mad, bro? Come on
this catch.
Sorry about that, guys.
Tayshaun Prince is chasing Kobe off the curl, and you see Rasheed Wallace is right there as well. And that's a tough finish over all that length. Prince has a 7'2" wingspan-ish. Rasheed, very long. And Detroit's approach coming into this series was, we have to take away Kobe as the head of the snake for the offense, and we have to take away Shaq. And we're going to bottle them up, throw a bunch of attention at them, and that means leave the other players and force the other players to work. So ISO in that pinch post area to Kobe. Tayshaun Prince stays with him. It's a turn.
How'd that happen? Did he pick that with his left?
ISO in that pinch post area to Kobe.
I think that was the weak side coming in from Hamilton.
Tayshaun Prince stays with him.
Good Lord.
It's a turnover. And if you run it back,
It's beautiful.
you'll see it's Richard Hamilton leaving Devin George, getting just a fingertip on the ball. That jostles it free, and it's a turnover. And this is how Detroit approached this defense, as we'll talk about as we go through this rewatch. Leaving other players, taking advantage of the Lakers' inability to space and punish with three-pointers. It was a different era. It was a different time. Some of the numbers on the defense that will...
Hey, Stuart Scott, man, rest in peace, brother. Man, I miss you in sports. You were awesome.
Get into. Absolutely mind-blowing. But my goodness, what Detroit was able to do was historic. So here's this full-court pickup. You see Prince stalking Bryant as he comes up the floor, staying with him out near half court. So now they get that entry to Shaq. Lakers running the triangle. No double comes.
Yep.
Little fadeaway, no good. So sometimes they live with this single coverage. Wallace is pretty strong, so if he can keep Shaq in front of him, that does the trick.
Yeah, but this works, and most players were scared. I mean, most teams were scared to play him straight up because, you know, you got the risk of Shaq putting 40 up on you, and you're going to foul out of the game. But if you just play him straight up like Ben did, try to stay out of foul trouble, there's no double team coming. Therefore, he's got no one to pass to, and that makes him a one-dimensional player, scoring and nothing else. Because you take away Shaq's passing, and you take away half of his threat. Because, you know, that's where a lot of people got wide open threes and wide open jumpers, was because the double team going on Shaq. And it was insane to me that Ben Wallace did this. But then I had flashbacks of Dennis Rodman doing this to Shaq as well. And it all just made sense. It's like, just go for it. I didn't know if it'll work or not, but it freaking worked. Man, what true championships, what true champions this Pistons team. This is bringing back all kinds of memories.
And the Lakers have not scored. We've played almost 3 minutes. They haven't scored a point. The defensive personnel that Detroit had, they had no weaknesses really in this lineup. And the Lakers couldn't easily win individual matchups. So you can't just attack somebody in isolation or in the post. And then Larry Brown is such a great defensive coach, one of the great defensive coaches, basically every stop he had in his career.
Yeah, we can all talk trash about Larry Brown if we want, but, dude, he did get this done. You know, he led this team. And this was the most defensive-minded team we've seen. Well, I haven't seen one since it's been 20 years.
We
Not like
had
this.
an uptick in the defensive performance, whether it was Indiana and the Reggie Miller teams, Allen Iverson's Philadelphia teams that got to the finals, were great defensive teams. These Piston teams, over and over again, we saw this pattern with Larry Brown. And so the series comes back to Detroit. It's very much up in the air, and they get hit with this 8-0 punch. Kobe comes up. They go with a little pick and roll with Karl Malone.
Okay.
It doesn't go anywhere, but watch
Yeah.
Chauncey Billups. Chauncey Billups is pulled way over, sitting in the driving gap in case Bryant wants to go right here. And Gary Payton is not really punishing them with that slot three-pointer on the skip.
Also, I kind of feel like Kobe could have baited him in before that pass. So he's obviously eyes on Kobe. If Kobe starts bringing the ball into about here, Chauncey's got a trap on him. And then one step forward, Gary Payton should be open.
Way over, sitting in the driving gap in case Bryant wants to go right here.
That was a
and
lazy
Gary
pass.
Payton is not really punishing them with that slot three-pointer on the skip. That's not his game. Great entry that time
That
to
was
Shaq.
great pass.
So Ben Wallace has to do stuff like front him, go for steals, because O'Neal was so big and powerful and such a big target. On the other end, they attack Shaq and pick and roll. He's going to give Billups that space. He's not going to come out. It's another era. Long twos, mid-rangers. If you can make them at a high-quality rate in this game, it's good offense because just getting to 100 points is hard. You see Prince picking up Kobe in the backcourt, makes him pass it up to Shaq. Now they start the offense with 14 seconds.
Man, I could watch Tayshaun play defense all day. This is beautiful.
On the clock. There's that same swing. Oh my
garbage.
goodness, just inhaled by Rasheed Wallace. That gets Detroit out in transition.
Oh, good luck.
An open Billups
Chauncey's
three.
got that. Oh.
Let's go back, though. They get into
was a
this
good look.
empty side pick and roll. First thing, Ben Wallace is going to jump out to meet the ball. There's Billups again at the free throw line. And the last part of how Detroit defended this is Rasheed or some backline defender is going to come all the way over to meet O'Neal on the roll. Meanwhile, Hamilton stays inside Rasheed's man, and that leaves the open three for Devin George. But one, the ball isn't fast enough. And two, Peyton is not quickly looking to take this three. So they can cheat and then recover.
He actually should have. Yeah. Gary Payton had a good look there. He could knock that down too.
Without Peyton, without Devin George punishing them, Rasheed Wallace incredibly long, a second rim.
Okay, that was a good play, but a terrible finish. Like, what was that?
Without Devin George punishing them, Rasheed Wallace incredibly.
Okay, he jumped off his right. Okay, so then go finish off the glass right here with your left.
Long.
Why'd he go up with his right? He jumped off his right and he went up with his right hand. Why? Could have gone up at the left off the glass.
Second rim protector, along with Ben Wallace. It's just a devastating defensive concept.
Yeah, that didn't go in, but that's a perfect transition. That was a perfect fast break right there. You want that shot.
With amazing personnel at a time where the offenses weren't equipped to punish them. Ironically, Devin George will pop a three in transition.
There you go. You make up for
every
that
once in
crappy
a while
layup.
like this. And I think that was a point of emphasis coming out of the first two games is players like George needed to be more aggressive. And here Detroit is just doubling down on that and saying, we're going to load up on Kobe and Shaq, and we're going to force Karl Malone to take 20-foot jumpers.
Yeah,
we're
look
going
at
to
that.
force Gary Payton.
They're doing the thing they do on LeBron. They're daring him to shoot. Look at this. Oh, you got the ball?
We're going to force.
Yeah, this is the ultimate sign of disrespect. You got the ball? Now I'm going to back off.
Karl Malone.
Look at that. Look at that. Oh, crap. I know you're going to pass it, so I'm going to get in here and block the path. Because, yeah, no way Karl Malone is shooting that three.
20-foot jumpers. We're going to force Gary Payton to make above-the-break threes in catch-and-shoot situations or drive a closeout. And that wasn't their game at this point in their careers, and they weren't really willing participants. They were reluctant to do it in the first 2 games. So here's Kobe again. Runs into traffic, hits the rim, out of bounds. But look at this. They match up well in transition. Prince can use his length and really bother Bryant in isolation, so that's not an easy advantage. And Billups lingers around to overload on the side. Bryant runs right into Chauncey on the baseline. And some of this is just not having the vocabulary at the time to realize, hey, how do I get the best three-point spot-up shot when I'm doubled in that situation? But
he shouldn't have gone baseline. He should have gone out because he had a couple guys to pass to, as he showed.
That is the length and the activity of the Pistons. So they just switch there. Hamilton onto Bryant. There's Billups again. Karl Malone wide open. So that's a good shot in 2004 basketball. Karl Malone's a good mid-range shooter. But you can see the idea is Ben Wallace is going to hug way into the paint and force them to make mid and long twos, basically.
Oh,
there's more pressure. Just discombobulating, getting into the offense. One of the things that Kobe has talked about in an interview in this series is just how they pushed out their starting points higher on the floor, which meant the automatic reads of the triangle weren't quite as easy. They weren't in the right spots.
Yeah. I've heard him talk about that too. Because he takes accountability for it. Well, he did before he passed away. He was taking accountability for it, saying, I should have done a better job when it comes to this, because they couldn't even get their offense started. And I think that was part of the strategy. Don't let them get into the triangle. Make them uncomfortable beforehand.
Physical era of basketball.
By the way, is this thinking basketball? Is this thinking basketball doing a project for the actual NBA? It sounds like you. I'm so confused. If so, that's crazy, man. You're working for the league now? Somebody please let me know.
This was the year before the freedom of movement rule changes. And so, yes, Detroit was more physical. Some of these teams were more physical. But you can also see this is not a lot of sort of hacking and missed fouls. This is positioning. This is length. This is scheme. And there's Prince stopping Kobe with a little help. Richard Hamilton sitting 12 feet away from his man, just sitting in that driving gap. That's the right basketball play.
It is. He got a clean look.
George misses that time. So George is not a great three-point shooter. He probably likes the corners the most.
He would shoot them,
Gary
though.
Payton, kind of a reluctant spot-up three-point shooter. And again, not a very accurate three-point shooter. Karl Malone, not a three-point shooter. So certainly with this starting lineup, as you see the single coverage again, nice hook by Shaq.
Yep.
And Shaq had good numbers in this series because they mixed playing him straight up with some of these other coverages. Another thing the Pistons have talked about is playing the psychological card, knowing that if Shaq is getting a ton of offense, he's won all the finals MVPs. How does Kobe respond to that? If it's too much Shaq at any given moment.
That's true.
In a series like this where they're heavy favorites.
That's a good point. That's a good point, because Kobe really did want that finals MVP. So if you let Shaq do his thing, is Kobe going to play hero ball? It's psychological. Interesting.
Have the 4 Hall of Famers. Same thing on the pick and roll.
Oh, he missed
with
something.
Billups pulled way over off of Payton. Payton doesn't even look to do anything. They swing the ball.
Into Shaq.
And is it single?
All right. Yeah, I think Shaq's going to miss Devin George here.
A late double?
Oh, no. Yeah, that would be a hard gap to split there.
That's great interior passing. Karl Malone's passing, especially
good pass
in
by
game
Malone.
2.
He figured it out.
A huge key to getting the Lakers' offense unplugged at times a little bit, but you see all the cheating and helping and how many bodies are in the paint for the Pistons. Another tough possession, Richard Hamilton followed one in.
I forgot how willing Ben Wallace was to take that mid-range jumper.
So now you can set the defense. Every time there's a free throw, a make, Prince is there, Rasheed is there. Again, Gary Payton not looking to shoot this three.
Yeah.
So when we rewind it, Sheed is always going to be willing to leave Karl Malone from that long two. Billups can kind of roam around off Payton. They can
yeah, you got to take that shot, GP. You used to take that shot.
Cover then to George, and we're back in the same situation where Shaq may or may not be doubled. Tries a brilliant pass idea, but it's a little too hot, and now Kobe's just stuck against Prince's length. You get another Gary Payton three against the clock.
Yeah, you can just see how uncomfortable the Lakers are. Like, they can't get comfortable in their offense whatsoever.
Splits the free throws. Luke Walton's in the game. Game 2 was kind of the Luke Walton game. Again, his passing and his willingness to shoot threes helped quite a bit against this kind of defense. If you think about modern basketball, where we are today, having non-shooters on the court or guys that can't punish the help really deflates the offense. It's a weak link in the chain. That is an incredibly hard shot.
Man, this is reminding me of like the '92 Bulls, like the way the Pistons are playing the passing lanes. Like they'll be going through rotations and they'll take a second to make sure they deny a passing lane for like into Shaq or out to Kobe. Like they'll take that extra second just to make you uncomfortable and let you know you can't get this pass off.
It's a subtle thing, but Prince's length deflects this pass. And
yeah,
so
it does.
Shaq catches it at the elbow. He's 5 feet higher than he wants to be to attack, so he just immediately resets it to Kobe.
Good catch.
Now Richard Hamilton is sitting on that drive. Prince can use his length. There's no time on the shot clock, and you know the 23-foot two-pointer over the long arms of Tayshaun Prince. That's just another completely stalled out possession because of Prince's length, because of what Detroit is trying to do with ball pressure.
Yeah, it's almost a shame this wasn't Kobe from about 4 years later, 4 to 5 years later, because Kobe would have been in the post. And actually, Kobe would have been rather successful in the post against Tayshaun, I believe, because that fadeaway, no matter how long your arms are, he should be able to get that fadeaway off. But him playing on the perimeter against Tayshaun, this is a nightmare. He can't move.
Prince is overplaying Kobe. What you do in the triangle is you flash to the post, Kobe goes back door, and Prince just sits on it. So Detroit is well coached. They are well scouted. And then Malone almost can't believe he's wide open. Because again, both the Wallaces are going to be looking to drape themselves all over Shaq on this entry. They don't mind if Karl Malone is kind of hanging out at the elbow. Malone also is playing injured in this game. He had a knee injury earlier in the year that sidelined him and then sort of re-aggravated it in the playoffs. And in game 2, back in L.A., he clipped his foot on a teammate, and that kind of just tweaked the knee. He tried to play a little bit more. He wasn't really able to move well and continue in that game. The other thing, I just mentioned the scouting. There was this play in game 2. The Pistons go full court pressure and all that stuff, and they go to post Shaquille O'Neal. The Lakers and Shaq love to repost when he doesn't have the right position. Yeah. So they throw it into Shaq. He kicks it back out.
He gets
and when
it
he kicks
deeper.
It back out, he looks to reseal and get much deeper with his size. Yeah. And Eldon Campbell and the Pistons, they know this trick. So he immediately jumps in front of the pass on the repost, changing position. They get a steal. That's great coaching. It's great scouting. It's great prep. Campbell played with Shaq in the 90s in L.A. for 2 years.
That is brilliant. And if anything, Shaq will fall down. We've seen it happen because he's gonna pound backwards with his back into you, and if you're not there to meet him, he'll go timber.
Also, mix it up a little occasionally, like throwing in a zone against the right opponent at the right time. They went to one in the second round against New Jersey and forced a ton of 24-second shot clock violations. And it's a vanilla zone, but they're so long and so big that they just swarm the floor.
Yeah, they're eliminating all the passing lanes, and they're keeping their arms out. Man, you can tell Larry Brown had an impact on these guys because this is like college fundamentals. Leave your arms out, spread them. If all 5 of you spread them and you're in those passing lanes, forget about it. No one's going to dare pass the ball.
They switch on possessions they need to switch. They rotate and recover. And it's not a staple, but it's just yet another thing they could go to. So just a lot of wisdom. There was talk about how this team didn't have finals experience and all that stuff, but there are a lot of veterans. There's a lot of intelligence based into how this team plays. Here's another transition opportunity and another block for Rasheed Wallace. You see
Malone's hurt.
A little limited with the knee. Malone's also 40 years old here, so that's another factor. But the Lakers, they had that one quarter in Game 2 where they scored 26 points. That was their high quarter in the NBA Finals. That was the only competitive quarter in the NBA Finals that they scored more than 25 points against this unbelievable defense. And a lot of that was from transition and defense to offense, getting steals that led to layouts and runouts. So they just could never get anything against the set Pistons defense in the half court. It was actually very rare for teams to get over 25 against Detroit once Rasheed Wallace was acquired in the trade. 91% of the time, the Pistons held a team to 25 points or less with Rasheed Wallace in 45 games of the regular season and the postseason. They gave up 6 30-point quarters the entire time. Just 6 in 45 games. And this is my favorite. They held teams under 20 points more than half the time in a quarter. 52% of all the quarters they played with Rasheed Wallace, they held teams under 20 points. That is mind-boggling. And Detroit didn't have a great offense.
Nope.
But when your defensive rating...
Yeah, they had Rip and they had Chauncey, who could really produce offensively. Tayshaun a little bit, but that was pretty much it. I mean, they were all just like mid-level scores. But defensively, I was just thinking when he was saying it, because like Rasheed, 10 out of 10 defensively. Ben Wallace, 10 out of 10 defensively. And then you got Tayshaun, 10 out of 10 defensively. I got to say, Chauncey and Rip as well. You guys are 10 out of 10s defensively. It's insane what the starting five was.
Is 89. You don't need a great offense. And after the trade, that was the Pistons' defensive rating. And part of the reason they were favorites here is because people didn't understand the shift in the first half of the season to the second half once they acquired Rasheed Wallace. They were playing at like a 48-win pace before the Rasheed Wallace trade, maybe 9 games over 500 or something like that. And they finished the year, including the playoffs, 33-12 with Wallace. And if you look at their point differential and their opponents and all that, we're talking like 65 to 68 win kind of team. Now the bench comes in for Detroit. And it's basically all defensive players. We already saw Eldon Campbell. Lindsey Hunter was such a ball hawk. And you could stick him on Derek Fisher, like he is here, but you could put him on a bigger player that would use him on Kobe Bryant. And then you could switch. Ben Wallace, as strong as he was, as great as he was, that's a great skip pass to find a good look. So that's how you have to punish a defense like this in the half court.
You hit that. Yep.
And then speaking of punish, again, when
they held him to 16 points in the first quarter. Man, in the finals. Damn, 16 points. With Shaq, Kobe, Gary Payton, Karl Malone.
Defense is so good. Drilling threes like that at the end of the quarter, getting up to 24. All of a sudden you have an 8-point cushion. And I think we're only supposed to do a quarter, but I got to keep going. We got to do bonus basketball here on the watch along. I mean, this defense is too good. Full court pressure.
This is thinking basketball, isn't it? This sounds like you.
From Corliss Williamson. This is basically a power forward playing 3, picking up a wing. Now you see Lindsey Hunter on Kobe. So look at this activity off ball. The length bothers the shot at the rim.
Walton.
Hunter, because he's giving up size, just working endlessly to front Kobe in the post. There's Eldon Campbell leaving his man Malone. They shift the defense. They recover.
Good movement.
And then Campbell has the length to bother it.
I mean, yeah, he did an up and under, but
At the rim.
that was a weak finish there, Luke.
So they can
He could
throw.
have got up 2 hands and just taken the blow and probably got an M1.
Different pieces at you. Hunter being smaller than the really long, lengthy Prince, and the whole system shifts and flows beautifully together. Walton at the 4 here gives them spacing. Fisher and Rush. This is kind of like the shooting lineup for the Lakers. Ben Wallace is out on the perimeter because he can do that, and there's another issue.
Yeah, by the way, Ben Wallace can actually play all 5 positions or defend all 5 positions for real. And Luke Walton, man, I love the amount of effort he put in. He played hard. He always played hard. But he just wasn't all that, his IQ wasn't up there when it came to basketball. So he did a lot of dumb things, but his heart was in the right place.
Just a basic entry pass. That could have been a foul. Very physical in the back.
Yeah.
But when Shaq weighs 350 pounds, he was a tough player to officiate. It's a tough call to make.
Yeah.
So if you go smaller for the Lakers at one end, that allows the big nasty to use his size and just beast Bryant at the other. But more importantly, that sets the defense. So every time you get something like that, they're going to pick up full court. They get Bryant off ball.
This defense is insane. Who do you pass the ball to? You can't see crap. You can't see anything. And this is a risky pass here too. That might get deflected.
Probably going to look for the post again. You can see the spacing is all clogged up.
Yeah, look at this. Okay, you got one option here. Nobody else. You can't pass to anybody else. What are you going to do, Luke? Probably
Then
force something, yeah.
Wallace. And just look at this spacing. Hamilton
crazy.
not only denies the backdoor flash, but watch Ben Wallace. He knows that pass is coming. He literally leaves Luke Walton, who has the basketball,
Yeah.
to sit on that pass.
Yeah. Yep. He clogged the passing lane there. That's so brilliant. Good catch.
Literally leaves.
Okay. Luke's got the ball. He sees D Fish going over, and that would be the easy bounce pass right to D Fish for an easy finish. But nope.
Walton, who has the basketball.
He backs up. He covers it. And he dares Luke to make a move on him, which he did. Yeah. Oh, man. This is just brilliant.
Sit on that pass.
Look at that. What are you going to do?
Then he could recover to Luke's drive. Williamson collapses off the shooter from the outside.
Oh, man.
Rush should probably get it here for 3.
Yeah, but he can't
There's
see him.
3 Lakers in the paint. Kobe Bryant's inside the 3-point line. There are Pistons everywhere. The spacing is totally jacked up. And now you end up with Luke Walton trying to go one-on-one against Ben Wallace.
Yeah, nothing here resembles a triangle at all. That's how good the Detroit Pistons were. Like the triangle is non-existent here. It's just a bunch of people trying to make one-on-one plays because they can't move the ball. And if you can't move the ball, what's the point of the triangle? That movement is going to mean nothing.
So this lineup is a good idea, I think, with Shaq and Kobe and 3 players who are more willing to shoot in space, and you get Walton's passing. But you give up
Oh,
stuff.
he's got you. Good foul.
On the other end, in this era, Detroit can use their size, and even though Wallace is not a great 3-point shooter, being at the free throw line.
All-time worst. Chris Dudley, huh? Wilt. Where's Dennis at? And Shaq. Man, Ben Wallace, dude. What was it? I see you. You should have just banked it. I see you banking that midi.
And even though Wallace is not a great 3-point shooter, being at the free throw line again sets the defense.
Oof. It was that
So he
hesitation.
misses both.
Can I just break this down real quick? It's this hesitation. He's gonna put it up in position, and then he's gonna give it like a little, just a little half a second, And that's where he's going to screw himself up.
And sets the defense.
There. He even finds himself like a little off balance.
Being at the free throw line again sets the defense.
Yeah. I don't know what that I never understood what that is, but it's obvious between those two things. Like he just needs to follow through. Do one motion, shoot it. And then what's going on with that right foot, doing a slight fadeaway on release, we got to stop that. Two things we got to stop.
Both. But they're right back, almost like a make. And then you start to get in their head. Slava Medvedenko off the bench. So with Malone kind of being hobbled here, you have to play more minutes for Slava. They go again with that mismatch. Williamson's a post player, National Player of the Year, championship at Arkansas a decade earlier. And that's how he likes to live. Just beasting Kobe. You get to score, you get to set defense. Now, look, no double cuts.
Yep.
And it's a defensive 3 seconds. And look at how Hunter is playing Kobe off the ball.
Yeah.
Denies the catch there. You just threw one out of bounds.
Yep. What are you going to do? Hope Kobe gets in a post?
Hunter is still
he's fronting him.
On him. They call a foul. So you get really physical. You get a couple fouls. You pick up a defensive 3 seconds. That's all worth it, of course, to play this scheme and apply pressure and fluster. And Kobe actually stops in frustration because he was open for a second. This was the first time he was able to shed the pesky Hunter.
That's crazy because that was just a split
more like
second.
Los Angeles' game. Throw it to Shaq, kick out for a Derek Fisher 3. It wasn't even a double team. The Lakers have 17 points.
And Kobe's got 0 in like 15 or 16 minutes at this point. That's incredible. That's not even, I'm not dissing Kobe. I'm just saying, look at this freaking defense. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
With 9
Where
minutes left
is this in today's game?
In the half. Look at this. No one is guarding Slava Medvedenko. Mehmet Okur, his man, is just hanging out by Shaq. Hunter is everywhere. So not only are you obsessed with Bryant, but you come off him at the right time to pick up a charge. Just awareness, good coaching. And this is the bench unit. You get a defensive specialist on the bench unit. You get a third big in Eldon Campbell. Lakers finally got to stop that time.
He's got it deep.
That gets at least Shaq some space in early offense before any double can come. But they call a foul on the floor. So you're not in the penalty, and now the Lakers have to play in the half court.
It's been a while since I've looked at these. Is this a foul?
So you're
it's a foul.
not in the penalty.
That's a foul.
And now the Lakers have to play in the half court.
It's hard to tell with Shaq.
Watch Hunter on Bryant here. He's going to deny again. That takes away any post-catch advantage. So they swing it to Shaq. Single coverage. Good job by Campbell forcing the jump.
I mean, for once, though, that's a shot you want. That's a good shot by Shaq.
Nothing is easy. Nope. Lakers get it back on a turnover, so Billups picks up full court.
I wish this was reality, and we could watch Game 4 of this Sunday at 8:30 Eastern Time. That'd be so awesome. I miss this so much.
And that's a trap spot for the Pistons defense in the corner there.
Good
forcing
luck.
Kareem Rush to make a play. A rare play made by the supporting cast. They're kind of daring all the other non-Shaq and Kobe players to do something. Not just shoot spot-up threes, but attack. Next time down, Lakers get a stop. Detroit set. And Hamilton, just a great job of cutting off Bryant. So there's no real easy individual matchups.
You got the height. You got the height on him, Kobe.
This team. And now he's going to go to the post.
He should have done a fadeaway. Should have done a fadeaway. What is going on? They're really just they got the Pistons got the Lakers so out of their funk. I mean, look at them. In what universe does Kobe not take this jumper?
Jumps.
It's single coverage. Spin to the left and take that jumper, Kobe.
against this
That's your
team.
shot.
And now he's going to go to the post. Late double.
Oh,
That throws the pass off. Absolutely no advantage.
oh boy.
And that was just a mess.
That was.
And so they have the
this
right
was-
idea here with Williamson finally committing late. Rush is
Yeah,
open.
Kobe made a big mistake by splitting that. He should have just taken that jumper. He hasn't scored yet. Like, you know, he had a perfect opportunity to do that. Instead, this became a clown show.
But the length of Corliss makes these passes an adventure for Bryant, and they never get an advantage because of it. Wild idea by Fisher. I could watch this
Shaq called for it, though, and then Shaq didn't really jump, so that didn't help.
defense all day. They've given up 19 points in a quarter and a half.
Insane.
There is just no easy way to crack this safe.
Oh,
And I think
D-Fish
Okor-
goes for a left-hand slam. What is this? What is this? D-Fish.
Easy way
Lay it up.
to crack this safe.
Lay it up. Lay it up, buddy. This ain't your game.
And I think Okor blocked
Oh,
that.
man.
You think maybe they're getting something easy in transition.
Did he?
And then just to fix
Oh, snap. He did. Well, if you would have laid it up off the glass, you probably would have got it off.
fingertip on the dunk.
Oh,
does
and the
trick.
face, I think. And the face. Where are we?
Tip on the
I think he swiped his face.
dunk does the trick. Man.
I think he did. Yeah, I saw the
Some
head.
more amazing numbers from this team. Opponent
Flip
shot
back.
51% at the rim against them once they got Rasheed Wallace. They shot 41% on all two-pointers. 41%.
Wow.
And my favorite is 35% in the short mid-range. And they forced a lot of these short, long mid-range shots. Here's Shaq, no double.
Oh, good
Ben
defense.
comes late to kind of throw it
Yeah,
off.
good weak side help by Ben.
There's another short mid-range shot right on cue. And that is why statistically they are the greatest defense we've seen, at least in the three-point era since the ABA-NBA merger. And there's another ball pressure steal from Hamilton. Rush fumbled it. In the playoffs, this Pistons team held its opponents 12 points per 100 below their regular season offensive rating. So the average of their offensive ratings was like 103 during the regular season for their opponents. They gave up 91 points per 100 in the playoffs. 91. That is like 25 points below league average as of right now. Devin George, a much-needed three to get the Lakers up to 22 points in the quarter, which is pretty good. Oh, no, that's the half. They're still in the first half. They played two quarters, and they're up at 22 points.
Yep.
So Hamilton makes some
Oddly
free
enough,
throws.
Devin George is the only one hitting a couple of these big shots. Not that he's playing great, but
Push it back to 9, and then they go to this little trap, forcing Medvedenko to make a play, and they can just switch. So now Hamilton can go to Kobe, single coverage on Shaq. There's a late double. Again, Gary Payton not looking to attack there, so they end up with a deep Kobe three. And so that's it. We can stop there. Pistons go on to win the NBA championship behind arguably the greatest defense in the history of the National Basketball Association. Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Tayshaun Prince, Rip Hamilton, Finals MVP Chauncey Billups, Lindsey Hunter off the bench, Eldon Campbell, Larry Brown's coaching. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you're having a great day. You can get Thinking
It
Basketball
is.
content in the NBA app throughout the season. And if you want more right now, check out the Thinking Basketball channel on YouTube.
what? Your content is on the NBA. I gotta check that out. I gotta check that out after this. Thinking basketball, you've gone big time. I mean, you deserve it. I hope you maintain that integrity of yours, sir. Because if you're working for the NBA, hopefully they don't tell you what to say. But I gotta say, this is the first time I've seen you do a video for the actual NBA, and this was brilliant. This was great. I could watch content like this all day. Greatest defensive team of all time? You know, it's very well possible, because the only other teams I can think of would be in the 80s, like the Pistons in the 80s, ironically enough. And I think if you took away the dirty plays that they were allowed to do back then, they wouldn't. That this '04 Pistons team would be a better, solid, like natural defensive team, like fair defensive team. You know what I mean? Because a lot of what the Bad Boy Pistons did in the 80s was based on fear of getting hurt, because that's what they were doing. They were injuring people. But man, this is a cool video. Thank you so much for the recommendation for me to check this out. I had no idea this was, one, Thinking Basketball, and two, I had no idea this was a project he was doing for the NBA. Let me know in the comment, guys. First of all, best defensive team of all time. Let's talk about it. Second of all, did you know that Thinking Basketball did this? Is this the first time he's done this, where he's actually worked with the NBA? Do you know other YouTube channels that have done this? Because this is brand new to me. My worlds are kind of colliding here. The second that I saw that this was on the actual NBA channel, I was like, what? Like, what universe am I in? All right, anyways, congratulations, 04 Pistons, true champions. I was rooting for you, because I was rooting against the Lakers like I always do. And what a win. What a championship that they got. You know, they never got to win a second one, but to me, just like the Dallas Mavericks championship, like, this is something to remember and something to appreciate for a long, long time. All right, everyone, I'm out of here. I will talk to you guys in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, please leave the video a like if you don't mind. It helps out a ton. And subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this. I'll see you in the comments. Peace out.